Hi there, Mom from Mom Cooks and Gardens. Today we were blessed with a week of warm weather and the ground has thawed. So I wanted to get some bulbs in the ground. I'll share with you a little something. So at the end of December we were having some really mild weather and I was bombarded with some sale emails from one of the local bulb companies, Dutch Master. And they made an offer I couldn't refuse, 85% off bulbs. And I wasn't really thinking of buying any bulbs this year because in my thought process, bulbs are the last thing to go in once all your perennials are established. They're kind of like that final touch, a little sprinkle on top. But it got me to thinking when I started seeing some of their larger alum packages. Now, alums are the onion family. And anything in the onion family gives off a strong scent. They're, companion planting with onions in your garden are going to deter things like voles, moles, any kind of burrowing creature, and groundhogs won't bother them either. So my thought process was plant onions everywhere, as long as they get along with the other crops. But I am going for more of a whimsical cottage garden. So I was thinking, why not ornamental alum? So this package had 109 bulbs, and then I ordered a couple different others. So here, we'll start at the largest, are the Mount Everest alum. They get 36 inches tall. The bulbs are gigantic. And I've grown these before in my garden. They're just stunning. They have these real tall stems, and then they give a little puff of flower. They kind of look like cotton balls on sticks. Mount Everest happens to be white. I also got a little brand called Party Balloon. They're purple. And they don't get quite as tall. They only get about 18 inches tall, and they came 2 bulbs per package. Now I know buying bulbs, fall planted bulbs in the winter is probably a no-no, but who could pass it up at 85% off? I figured I'd take a chance. Now, more than likely, these bulbs may not flower this year. My hope is that they just make it, that they come up, gather energy, and if they do flower, the flowers will probably be really small, but that's okay, because next year they'll put on a great show. So we got some blue, we got some purple, and they're all of varying heights. These only get 6 to 10 inches. These get 24 to 36 inches. These guys, I think these guys only get to be about 18 to 24. So they're going to add some height in the garden. And I'm going to plant them around things like our carrots, our carrot barrels, and things like that. Ooh, the best part, I didn't get a chance to show you that. I picked up this bag, 50 daffodil bulbs. They're beautiful yellow daffodils. And you can see here, they're starting to grow. I've had them in my basement. It was the best I could do. When I placed the order, probably the second week of December, the temperatures outside still had workable ground. It hadn't frozen yet. But then in the week and a half it took them to get to me, the ground froze solid and I had no other choice but to store them in the basement. So that's where they've been, and we're just gonna hope for the best. So my plan here, my garden plan for the fruit trees is to build a fruit tree guild with beneficial plants. And for, hundreds of years, people have been planting daffodils in apple orchards. They deter deer. Deer know that daffodils are poison, so they stay away. And we did put up a deer fence, but hopefully a nice show of daffodils will tell them that there is nothing here for them. And I'm planting them in our fruit tree guild with our cherry and our dwarf Asian pear. So you can see here I've prepared the ground. I used a garden hose to get a nice curve. And I want to divide the bed in half. But I wanted it to be a languid curve, something that kind of swept across the bed and divided it and then came to the back. So we'll have this nice cheery row of daffodils, and then in the front, a nice showing for the spring. And over here as well. This time it'll be in the back. And we'll add some symmetry and structure to this, and then I can go ahead and drop in my larger perennials toward the back. But this little trough is how I'm going to plant these daffodils. And as I mentioned, using a garden hose or something that can help you get that nice curve. And then I went ahead and dug it out. I had some roots to contend with, but the ground is ready for those bulbs to go in. Okay, so we've got our daffodils in the trenches. You can see they're about 6 inches deep. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to start to fill them in, cover them over, and I'm going to put a row of flags just so that I know where they're at. In a few weeks we're going to start planting wildflower seeds, and what I want to do is have a trough of zinnia right behind the daffodils. That way the daffodils will be the first to peek their heads out, and then comes the zinnia. They'll start to bush out. Behind that, the wildflowers, which get much taller, and it should give us nice succession blooming. So I don't know if I showed you this, but this is sort of the garden plan, where we've got the swath of zinnia, kind of dividing it in a lazy S, and right in front of it is the daffodils. And then we're going to have our little daffodil clusters. So I think it's going to look really nice. All right, I'm going to move on to the onions. Okay, we've got it filled in. There it is. Got my little flags to mark my arch so I can follow that with the zinnia. And hopefully in a couple weeks we'll see them poke to the surface. Who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I'm gonna move on to the alums. Okay, so we went ahead and transplanted one of our oregano plants and our rue. So here the rue is. There's a clump of onion there, some of the larger Mount Everest there, and then here again is another clump of purple flowering onion. And I'll put a stepping stone here in the middle. This will leave us an area for some yarrow once I get that. Let me see what else. Over here is our transplanted oregano. Hopefully he'll come back. He's looking worse for wear. And again, here in the corner, we've got some flowering onion, some more of the tall Everest, and then 2 clumps of the low-growing pink onion. And we'll put a stepping stone here. And then the last corner, pretty much the same thing. There's clumps of onions surrounded by another rue. I think it's going to work out pretty good. I'm liking the way it's looking. We got all the bulbs in the ground. You can tell I'm a little hoarse from working in all this compost. Like, I've got mushroom compost, and I've got leaf mold, and I've got straw. Mixing all that up in the soil is kind of getting to me. But we took a lot of roots out of the fruit tree area where we planted the daffodil. You can see all these roots that I pulled up. So hopefully in the future, going forward, it's going to make it a lot easier to get some of our transplants in, and it'll give a nice even ground for the wildflower garden. I think we're going to wait just a few more weeks before we spread down the seed. Probably my tip will be when the other wildflower garden, the established one, starts to show signs of life. That's when I'll get these seeds out here and get them moistened up. So as they promised, the temperatures are starting to drop. It's about 1 o'clock, and I'm starting to feel a chill in the air, and the wind has picked up because of the colder temperatures mixing with this warm air we have. So I think that's all we're gonna do today. But we'll check back in a couple weeks and we'll see how those bulbs are doing, whether we see any signs of life. As always, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe for more.